Hello, everyone, and welcome back to GaM session. This is episode 8. So, we're basically 2 months into creating this and putting it up. So,
That's pretty cool.
I know.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna write some stuff down real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead, introduce us. Who are we?
Yes. I am Madhurima, a coach coming all the way from India, and that's Gisella, a coach coming all the way from Utah, and we're basically meeting in the middle, kind of, and talking about stuff. I feel like that's the essence of GaM sessions. We started out because we loved having conversations, and our conversations would take like crazy turns. And it was like a very sad thing that we never recorded it. And GaM session is basically all our conversations being recorded. It's very friendly and open. Like, we don't plan half of the stuff, like most of the stuff, in fact, hardly
like 99%.
Yeah, the only 1% is like genuinely today we were speaking about tarot cards and stuff, and we spoke about it in a previous episode. So I was like, gee, are you gonna pull some cards? Because that would be dope. And that is all the preparation we made for this video today. So we have cards, we have Gisella, the amazing person all the way from, again, Utah. So let's go. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we decided that we're gonna pull some cards today. I'm using Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot deck.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm just going to shuffle and ask if there's anything that the collective, that the people that watch this, what do we need to hear today, or what do we need to talk about? Is there something specific that's coming up for all of us or some of us? Anything that needs to be said at all? I usually just shuffle until the card pops out.
Yeah.
Like that. So, okay, let's see. We got 4 cards. Let's all this one first. Ooh. Okay.
Okay. I'd like you to kind of introduce the card and give us a very little backdrop of what this card means in general before we kind of get into the messaging aspect of it, like what all of this could mean together. Would that be something you're comfortable with?
Yeah. I'll probably just use the book for a little bit of the background part, and then use my own intuition to pull from what I believe that this card is trying to show us right now. So it's really funny because this is usually the card that everyone's most afraid of. And it's the death card.
I knew it.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Everyone's always so scared when they see it, but I love this card because just take a look at it. Take a look at it. I don't know if you can see all the details on it, but let me see if I can get.
I love this card. I was genuinely so scared of it, and I was like, hold on, what could it mean? Obviously it signifies death, but it also signifies something else. But I'll let you get into the background of it. And while you do, I just wanted to mention this. I was listening to a podcast, Know Thyself, recently, and it spoke about something that we both speak about often. I've said this often, right? G is the one who's actually read a lot. She has learned so much, and I come from experience. And this was something that Daniel and Eddie were speaking about, is how Daniel is someone who reads a lot, and Eddie is someone who kind of is like, oh, I have heard that before. So it's basically, whenever you are in a conversation with us, most of the time it's the same thing. It's not learning something, it's relearning or remembering something that's something that you're already aware of. So yeah, we invite you to kind of come here with an open mind, letting go of all those restrictions, and just listen. And then you can take whatever you'd like to take from it, but be in a place where you would be eager to remember all that you're already aware of, all the stuff you're already aware of. It's in your DNA, it's in your soul, it's in your spirit. So yeah, with that, I'll let G kind of take over.
So I actually wanted to touch on what you just said, because it's really important that people understand, obviously there's a lot of woo-woo like aspects to this, but it's because there's also like a lot of science that backs it up. So because when you say remember, you can literally break down that word like remember. You're putting back every member, right? So when you think about it like that, everything that we know is already been there. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. That means energy has completely it's been this whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it just
So
transforms.
yeah, well, it transfers. So
Yeah.
it like goes from one thing to another, right? So the thing you have to remember is that water holds knowledge, energy holds knowledge. So you know more than you think you do because you quite literally have water that's been on this earth for thousands and thousands of years, and
True.
we're 80% water. So like when you think about it,
Yeah.
that's why specific symbols like mean something to you, even if you're not sure what it means. You just like feel yourself light up. Okay,
Yeah.
let's get into the death card.
Let's go.
So death,
Mhm.
a few like phrases or words that come with it is transformation, change, voluntary or involuntary, perhaps sudden and unexpected, apparent death or destruction that is illusionary when viewed from a higher perspective. So to me, what this means is that a lot of people are, including myself, we're going through a lot of change right now. And this change is giving way for death, right? It's preparing the cycle of life, death, rebirth. And that's the part of the cycle we're on. We've lived, it's time we let go of everything, we die so we can be reborn. And this is constant, right? We are
Mm.
constantly doing this. Um, so I think what this card for me at least is saying is that we need to allow the parts of ourselves that want to die to die. There's no need to continue to feed that energy into them. Um, Especially I see this a lot when we shame ourselves for
Mm.
feeling shame, for feeling negative emotions. We we just need to let that part of ourselves die. Like our judge, our opponent is so tricky when it comes to trying to convince us that we are the voice in our head, but we're not. We are the awareness of the voice in our head.
Mm. Yeah, I love.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Go ahead. I was just going to say, so
Yeah.
the first card means transformation's on its way. Allow yourself to die for that transformation to come forth.
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon that mostly because I have been hearing this message so many times today. It's not even funny. Yeah, like just this message of letting go by, like allowing death to occur so that you can be reborn. And I heard this in the podcast today of like, how it's basically you kind of burn everything and restart, regrow from that thing, right? You kind of have a clean slate per se to kind of like restart and do whatever you want to do. And I heard that in Preston's message today, the live that he was on, and I've been seeing so much of this. So it was like really monumental that the very first card you pulled was death. I was just like, okay, I hear you. This is something that I need to learn. I hear you. Yeah.
I feel like I've also been like hearing this a lot where it's just really being able to let go of everything that hasn't is no longer helping us, because it's important to recognize and acknowledge that every habit you have right now has helped you. It was formed because of the intention it had. Like I care about you. I want you to feel loved, feel in belonging, have that community, feel safe. But as we change in our lives and as everything around us constantly change, because it is a reflection of who we are. So if we change, their environment changes, we have to then be able to hold on to the intention, understand the values, and shift the habit as needed.
Yeah, for sure. And I was doing this meditation yesterday, and I mean, it was a guided kind of release almost of this discomfort that I had been feeling. And it just manifested as this black cat that's like ready to go, right? And I was just like, in that meditation, like all this blockage just kind of manifested into this cat, and it thanked me. And I thanked it because it was born out of a need to protect me. But it
Mhm.
no longer needs to be there because I have changed, I have shifted. And so what was born out of a need is now feeling caged inside of us almost by kind of like,
Yes.
yeah, like we don't, like, you don't need us anymore, let us go, let us serve someone else, right? And it's just that I feel like we kind of beat ourselves up about this a lot.
Black cat.
Okay. Yeah, and you're speaking about how we shame ourselves on shame, on guilt, and we beat ourselves up a lot. I feel when we think about all these things that we created to care for us when we were going through something, we beat ourselves up about it by calling it unhealthy. And it's not unhealthy, it's just something that you don't need anymore because it has served its purpose and it's time to let it go,
Mhm.
so that by death you can let it go, have allow it to have its freedom and open up space for you to kind of add something that you think would serve you better right now in this moment of your life. So yeah.
Yes, I agree completely. And first of all, I love that you said black cat because I feel like that suits you. And then also baby Jax is right here, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, and I completely agree. I feel like, okay, this is actually what I was gonna say. When we feel as if there's something holding on to us, we have to realize that we're the ones holding on. And I think that's the hardest part to realize. And that's why we feel shameful and feel like it's our fault because we're the ones not letting go. We're the ones not. Um, I'm going to tell you a story real quick.
Yeah.
In there's like a tribe in Africa that they hunt these like monkeys or baboons, like this primate of some sort. And in order to do that, they cut a hole in a tree and they put salt in it. The monkey will grab the salt and not be able to get their hand out because it's stuck because they won't release the salt. So that's how they die. They get captured that way. They get killed because their hand is in the tree and they won't let go. They would rather have the salt than live, basically. They don't understand. Okay. That act of letting go is so much more beneficial to us than we understand. And that's like a really intense like scenario, but like it's perfect because if we're holding on to something that serves us no purpose,
Yeah.
we're going to spiritually die.
True that. Yeah, and I
Oh,
felt that. I felt that yesterday, when the black cat was ready to go, I was like, thank you for being here. And it was ready to leave. I almost kind of reached out to it instinctually. I was like, hold on, I don't know what to do without you being here because you're a part of me and you've been a part of me for so long. I don't know what to do. And then I was like,
yes.
which is exactly why I need to let it go. I need to see
Mhm.
what else I can create in this space right now, in this container made of flesh and bones. What can I do more? So yeah. Oh. Just this
Which
card kind
brings
of,
us,
yeah.
I was going to say, which brings us to our next card, which
Yes.
is the Magician.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, 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 yes. So the Magician, a few words that describe the Magician is skill, wisdom, adroitness, elasticity, craft, cunning, deceit, theft, sometimes occult wisdom or power, messages, business transactions. So this to me, right after the death card, means you can let that part of you die because you have everything you need. You've literally got all of these different symbols, right? All of these different things that you can just create, right? You have the ability to. Hi. Thank you. I got you.
Yay.
It's in my mood book.
Okay. I got water.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good too. Clink.
Clink.
Clink. Okay. So that's kind of what this one means to me. Like this is quite literally you are in the position of being the creator when you allow these parts of you, this shame, this this thing you're holding on to die, because you're allowing for that space inside of you to hold more light and create more, right? So that's literally amazing. Do you have anything to say on that?
No, I mean, it's just kind of astonishing. I feel that all this is happening right after that powerful uh, kind of visualization slash meditation that I went through. And it's like connecting so many things for me. So, yeah, I mean, I love the concept of the magician mostly because it allows us to kind of realize that it's already within us. Like, we have the tools already. We already, even the tools that we are not necessarily aware of, we subconsciously reach out for it when we are in a state of um or we are in a place where we need it, right? I feel that um it's again the concept of remembering stuff, right? Like a lot of times when we first started speaking and you spoke about spiritual stuff that I wasn't very aware of, I was like, I get what that means, because I have instinctually almost reached out for it a lot of times in the past without being aware of what it is called, without being aware of the label, without being aware of it can be used like this. It was almost something that I instinctually reached out for. So yeah, just the awareness that it already exists within us, everything that we are consciously and subconsciously aware of, and that we have been utilizing it and we can now utilize it to a much greater effect now that we are aware of it, is just powerful. Yeah.
It is. And I feel like we all have that like knowing within us. And when you start studying and like reading and like going on this journey of that self-awareness and that understanding, I feel like it's so much easier for your subconscious to then pick up on symbols that your reality has been trying to reveal to you this whole time. So that's why when I speak to you and you have that like, oh my God, like that happened the other day, or like I totally see that, that is you realizing, like you bringing that awareness to like actually see what what the universe is trying to communicate to you. So I think that's beautiful. Well said. um Ace of Swords is the next one, which is beautiful. I love the aces. They're very much like new energy. Okay, so let me go ahead and read the thing from the book. It's really pretty. The root of the powers of air, invoked force as contrasted with natural force, represents great power for good or for evil, but invoked, conquest, whirling force, activity, strength through trouble, as affirmation of justice, upholding divine authority, may become a sword of wrath, punishment, and affliction. So I'm going to go a little deeper with this one because I don't pull this one very often. Okay, so I feel like to me, like what is, bless you, what is reading, like what is coming up for me is you see the sword, right? And swords are usually, like it said, it usually is used for like offense, right? It's used to invoke force and like to conquest and like to fight and like affliction sometimes, right? But then you see the crown up here, and the crown has the 12 points of the zodiac, which means that we're using our intellect, right, to pierce through our wisdom, our eternal universal knowing. And I think that's kind of exactly what we were talking about just now, which is interesting. Really just being able to use your mind and have a hold of it in such a way that you start directing it to where you want to go. And the sword is straight up. The sword is, you want to go from the bottom up. You want to start heading up. You want to, and by up we don't mean like quite literally upwards, but in a way that means ascension, uplifting. And it's not like a goal, it's a knowing. And that's why it's through intellect that we get there. It's through knowledge, and it's not, I don't know, I feel like yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it.
I get it. It's again a very powerful card because, you know, so far we've had death, letting go of things that is not really helping us, magician, knowing that we have the ability to create something in that space that's left behind, that kind of space that we have created by letting go of things. And now we have the Ace of Swords, which is basically telling us that with our intelligence, or with our intellect that the magician uses, we can now create or move forward in the way that we have been wanting to move forward, by letting go of things that didn't serve us, and by using our intellect to kind of take things that, or manifest or transform and create something that works for us. So I feel like that is very powerful in and of itself.
I feel like it is like just seeing like the transition of all of it. And I love how they all kind of are playing off of each other, like color scheme wise.
True
Like
that.
this
Yeah,
one matches this one matches this one kind of thing. But yeah, like really being able to see your power and understand that it is there and then using it. And I
yeah.
feel like that's what the sword is you're quite literally, it's an invoked force. Like you are the one that invokes the force. Like it's not
Yeah,
something that's like like here's just all this magic
yeah,
and power, like just hang on to it, just have fun with it. Like no,
yeah.
you have to be the one to hold the sword and direct it. You have to be the one to like move forward with it. And where do we move forward with it? Pleasure. Six of Cups. Pleasure.
Nice.
And I'll go ahead and read a little bit about this card.
Mhm. While you do, just something that kind of hit me was with the swords. It's almost that, again, we think of it as something that's very kill, 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 stab, stab, stab kind of a thing. But I also think of it in this scenario, and something that just landed for me was, we also use swords to kind of carve away at things till we reach the desired outcome that we are looking for. Right? Like we carve away the things that we don't think is necessary for now. And we have to wield it. It can't be wielded by anyone else, because no one else knows what we are looking for, only we do. So by wielding it and by carving away and finding the thing that we are looking for, which again leads to pleasure, is something that's really clicky clicky. Yeah.
And I like the I feel like it's also like a point. So it's also like almost a compass. And my friend Sam said something the other day about a spear, and I feel like this could definitely be like used for the sword as well, where it's like only the tip of the spear can like I think she said that she was what someone once referred to her as like the tip of the spear. And she's like, and that's because like that's the person or that's the point that actually does the most damage, or does the most, right? Because of the spear, like yeah, you have the whole thing in there, it's all necessary, but the first person in line needs to be the one to like push, right? It's the one that makes the dent, it's the one that no one probably really loves, right? Because it's the one that does the most action. And I want you to notice that the tip of the sword is covered in the wisdom of the zodiac, right? Of
Right.
the universe, the stars. And I just think that that's important too.
Mm.
But for pleasure, okay. Pleasure. I'll hold it while I read. Well-being, harmony of natural forces without effort or strain, ease, satisfaction, happiness, success, fulfillment of sexual will, beginning of steady increase, but beginning only. So for me, I get this card a lot. And it's usually because I need to consistently remind myself, and I was actually talking to my friend about this earlier. I have to consistently remind myself that it's okay to do things because I just want to feel good. Like I want to um like I like to justify it because I'm a Sagittarius moon, and we do like to have fun, and often because I'm a Capricorn sun, I'm very like hardworking, and I like obsess over career, and that's like not just like a reading into Capricorn, like that's literally how I am. And I've realized that the last like 3 years, I've been so obsessed over building my career that I haven't given my emotional side, my soul, like that space to just be. And that's something that I focused on this week. And I'm actually like, I think today at like 2 or 3, I'm actually going to go to the cabin and like ditch my phone for like 2 days. So like I know like I'm going hard into the paint, I'm going hard in the paint of pleasure. And I think it's important to add that, and this is important to add, the cups aren't overflowing because this is the beginning. Okay. This is making space, making room for your emotional, feminine soul side of your beingness is important, because that's how we start filling the cup. And I think it's important to remember that when we understand how we feel pleasure, we can then take off the lid, take off the cap, and like move forward with that overflow. But it's important that we get some sort of like what is this, the hustle culture say, they call it like that income, the one that you don't have to do anything, like, do you know what it is? Like where it's like it just flows naturally and you don't really have to do anything about it. It just kind of comes in every month. Oh my God, what's the word?
I don't know. Can you specify it? Because I just drew a blank when you said that. Like, I have a feeling what you're speaking about, but I don't remember the word that it's used to call that.
Let's see. Passive income. That's what it is.
Right,
I was like,
right.
I wrote it down yesterday. I was like, I wrote it down
Fixed
yesterday.
deposits. That was all coming in my mind. I was like, what the hell does that mean?
Everyone watching this is like, it's passive income.
Yeah.
So we want to understand how we best accept that passive income of pleasurable currency. Like, how is it easily accepted in your life? How can you cultivate it within yourself? And once you understand, once you have that flow coming in, that's when you understand, like, okay, now that I know I'm getting stuff in, now that I know I'm making time for myself, how can I now serve? Because you were serving yourself. It's not that you were being selfish, you were serving yourself in order to serve others more. And I feel like a lot of people kind of bounce back and forth.
Yeah. No. I love that a lot, because again, that this is part of the work that I do, is helping people who serve others kind of like serve themselves first. And I love the concept of the overflow, right? Like, I feel like by default we feel guilty when we take care of ourselves and we give ourselves pleasure, because it's bad. How could we need to look after others? Why are we looking after ourselves? When in reality, if you don't look after yourselves, you can't go ahead and do anything for anyone else. And this is genuinely so funny, because I was literally speaking about this yesterday. As this, like, you can't survive. This is something that my mom says, right? Like, if you work extremely hard today, right, doing whatever that you're doing, but you don't survive tonight, you won't be there to reap the pleasures of all that you have created, right? It doesn't make sense. What's the point of doing it all? Sure, you're living behind a better world, but how do you know it's going to be better without you? You're not there to see the change. You're not there to kind of manifest it in a way that helps others. It could be used for anything. It's energy, right? It can be used for good or for evil. So
I love the way that you said that, because it's so true. Like, I don't think, and I tell this to people all the time, like the people that I am surrounded with, I'm like, you do realize that this whole universe was created for you, right? True. Like, this whole thing was created for you. And they were like, well, what does that mean? Like, what about you? And I was like, oh, this whole world was created for me. And they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, no, honey, honey, you, honey, girl, like, without you experiencing it, this place doesn't exist.
True.
We all opted in to experience this.
True.
And if you leave, the experience is gone. You no longer experience it, and nothing will ever be the same again, because you're not here, right? And just physically, like energetically, you are here. No one ever leaves. Anyway, I love that your mom says that to you. I say that to my wife all the time, because she loves to work. She's very like, that's probably like why my Capricorn sun is like with her, but like I love it. I love a good work ethic. I love a good work ethic.
Yeah.
And I always tell her, I'm like, baby, if you are sick, if you do not feel good, you're not gonna be able to work. Like
Yeah.
you will literally, like, if you're not healthy, you will die. Like you don't have time. You can't build your business. You can't build your future. You can't, like, you are not here. You're not here to participate. You have to take care of yourself. And if you don't understand that you help so much more people when you're at 100 than when you're at 40 trying to give constantly, like, come on, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, quite literally, logically, if this is my cup right now and I tried to pour a whole cup into someone, I got a negative cup. Like I got negative juices in there. And that's not going to help anybody, including myself, because I'm going to still try and pour. And that's going to make other people feel offended. And that's going to build resentment within myself.
True. And I love that a lot, yeah, because oh god, I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyways, yeah, I got it. Okay. So yeah, I was just gonna say that I feel like when we say this, there is awareness that already exists within all these people that we speak to, right? Like when my mom tells this to me, I'm aware about it. But it's not about the awareness, it's about the acceptance in a scenario like this. It's like we are all aware that when we are tired and we still try to give, even from that point, we are not doing our best. But we are not ready to accept it, because if we accept it, it means that, oh, two, three things. We might need to serve ourselves first, which we feel very guilty about, because someone sometime told us that we should never keep ourselves first, or someone kind of told us off about serving ourselves first. Or the second thing could be that there's just this feeling of weirdness that follows through with it every time we try to give someone. ah Never mind, I feel like I lost myself in the sauce. Yeah.
Oh, you got lost in the sauce.
Yes, I did. I'm like, what was I trying to say? Anyways, but yeah, I feel like by default we kind of face this kind of really bad pull when we try to serve ourselves first, and it's just the acceptance of it all, that we are aware that we are not doing our best, but we are not ready to accept it because it feels weird to kind of give ourselves the permission to take care of ourselves. Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, in Kabbalah, they call that the bread of shame, where we, in a way, the bread of shame means that let me like double check here.
Yeah.
That you haven't earned the fulfillment. You haven't like earned what you're about to receive. And when we feel unworthy of being taken care of, that's when we feel like icky when we try to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's because we've tried to convince ourselves that we don't need to be taken care of because we're strong, independent, and we're on our own, and we've been on our own, and like we don't need anybody, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, but you do, because you have you and you need you. Yeah. And if you're not with you, if if you don't have your own back, no one does. And that sounds like a little harsh, but I feel like it's more about being comfortable in your solitude than being lonely. Like around, like I have been lonely around people. I have been lonely before, but now I understand that I am comfortable in my solitude. If I was alone for the rest of my life, I would be okay, because I know that I can take my energy and give it back to myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love that a lot. And I feel like by default, we need to, the first thing that I loved, okay, before I get into all of that, I loved the fact that you said that you are comfortable in your solitude, and there needs to be a difference whether we are choosing that solitude or whether it's being thrust upon us, right? Like we need to understand the difference. Is it something that we are genuinely choosing for ourselves, or is this something that people, society, our family, our friends, or just our own selves, like pushing ourselves into solitude because that's the only place we are comfortable in, right? Like we need to understand the difference, and it's very difficult to do that if for almost all your life you have been alone, right? So you don't know anything else outside of it. So you don't know whether it's a choice or whether it is something that you're comfortable, that is being thrust upon you. And I say that because I've thought about this a lot, right? Like we speak about lone wolves kind of a thing, that, oh, I'm a lone wolf. Well, is it because you wanted to be one, or is it because you were kind of ostracized by your pack, right? Were you pushed away, pushed outside of the pack and said that no, no, you have to be a lone wolf, or is it your own choice? Because I love being comfortable with myself. Like if I choose to be alone, I have the most amazing time ever, right? Like I'm listening to songs, I'm dancing around, I'm having a lot of fun, I'm reading books, I'm doing everything that I love to do. But if it is something that is being thrust upon me, I just suddenly like shrink and I go into myself and I'm like, I don't know what to do. This is comfortable. I don't know what to do. I'm happy. I don't think so, but maybe I am. This is all that I've ever been. So, like, it's the concept of whether you're moving around freely or whether you're shrinking into your own self and being like, maybe I'm happy.
Like, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I have like solitude thrust upon me, which happens, it almost happened yesterday, but I filled it with something because I didn't feel like being alone.
Yeah.
I usually end up just meditating. So it's almost like shrinking, but more in a way of like just turning inward. I'm like, well, maybe I just need to be with myself. Like, obviously, I'm having this opportunity to get to know myself a little bit more. How can I do that today? Like, I'm gonna just like turn my eyes, like turn everything that I always have, like looking outward, and I'm just gonna turn it in and like see what's going on. And I just like I kind of shrink, but it's more just like I sit with myself and like I see where I'm at and like why maybe I'm feeling uncomfortable or why I may not be happy at that moment. It's like, well, do I have the energy to be around people, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to kind of build that process for yourself because like
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, because there's a difference between having like solitude thrust upon you where like everyone's like, I have plans tonight, and you're the only one without plans. And
Mhm.
that's different. Like that's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I just like have to be by myself today. Like I get to either fill that with something or I get to just like turn inward. I get to do whatever I want right now. And that's different than I don't want to see anybody because I feel like I need to distance myself. And I feel like distance is another tricky aspect where it's like, is it because you want to turn inward and you want to be with you? Or is it because you don't feel like anyone else can handle you right now? And I think that's usually where people go. That's where I go, at least. Like I like wrote down my cycle the other day where it's literally like, if I feel like a victim, I have FOMO, and then I distance myself. Like like there's a trigger, victim, FOMO, distance. Like that's exactly how the cycle goes. And then whenever I catch myself now, I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
need to take a step back. Like it's fine. I'm in a cycle.
Yeah.
But when you're in that cycle, you don't really realize that when you're distancing yourself, it's because you feel like a burden. And then you need to like go underneath that and tackle that belief of that lower emotions, specific emotions aren't worthy to be around other people.
Yeah.
Every emotion is natural. You literally have chemicals in your body that make you feel specific things.
Yeah.
It's an important time to, you can look inward and like decipher those codes, those chemicals, and see like what images, what scenarios pop up for you and how you can maybe change that belief. But if you don't give yourself that space to be held either with yourself or with others, like it's going to lead to like quite literally like abandonment of either yourself or others. And I feel like that's a dangerous like ladder to go down.
Yeah. No, I hear you a lot because I feel like, when from my specific story, right? Like back in school, I was the odd one out, right? Like I was the weird one basically because I would either be a huge nerd or I would be in too many things way too quickly. right? Like I'd be doing a lot of things, and I never really connected with a lot of people because I never really, I think instinctually I never vibrated at the same energy that they were in, because they were too low and I was at a very high thing. And it's not a way for me to kind of like say that, oh, they were bad. They were good, but sometimes you just can't be with them. You physically are kind of like distanced, and they distance you from them as well, right? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
like, we can't handle her, she's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of like, you are stuck in this lonely place where people have abandoned you, or so you think. And I was in that place, but, and this kind of comes back to kind of that overflow, understanding how you're filling up your own cup, is because when I was in that cycle, I realized that this is not, I think again instinctually, I didn't know all this stuff back then, but I was like, if all I can be is alone, I'm going to learn how to fill up my cup by myself, for myself, right? Like till I get a community, I am going to fill up my cup. I'm going to understand what helps me fill up my cup. I'm going to understand how I can search for my own pleasure. And again, this is for all the people out there, all the youngins, basically, who are kind of like, oh no, I'm being kind of like pushed around, I'm being kind of abandoned, I'm kind of being pushed away from the people. Understand, I feel like, okay, this can be taken in a very weird way, but just stay with me. Understand how you feel right now. Understand if you can meet them halfway, and if they are ready to meet you halfway. If they are not, this is the opportunity you are looking for to understand what you can do to fill your own cup, right? Because high school is not going to last forever, college life is not going to last forever, even your job phase, even that's not going to last forever. Half of these people you won't even meet till you're like pretty famous and out there, and you're like, I'm ruling this world, and they're like, oh, I knew her. Well, bitch, you didn't talk to me back then, so like I don't care. But genuinely, like, this is the time, this is the opportunity that's gifted to you to understand how you can fill your own cup, how you can love to learn, or learn to love yourself better. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and just start. I feel like, going back to what we were speaking about, you don't need to do things right off the bat, you just need to start. If you're trying to fill your own cup, you don't need to do way too many things out there. My dog just stole a glove, and I'm just like looking at it. Anyways, you don't need you don't need to do everything right off the bat. You just need to do one small thing that gives you happiness and repeat it, kind of create a routine of it so that you can then build up on it. So yeah.
Let me go cut my grandpa's hair. Okay. Nice. 7:20. Sorry.
It's okay. Cute couple moment. Yeah.
Couple things.
Yes.
I love what you're saying here, though. I actually shuffled the deck again, and another card fell out. I wanted to see like what else we could kind of like almost like wrap this up with. And it's really great because I was literally talking about this like maybe 2 hours ago, and it's Prudence.
Ooh, okay.
So Prudence, I can read the things, but I already have like my own idea of what prudence means. Okay.
Yeah.
Intelligence applied to material affairs, agriculture, building skill, cunning, industriousness. So for prudence, what it means to me is, being able to take action with the future in mind. And I feel like a lot of us believe that we do this when we're not, because we believe we have to physically build something. And that's why I kind of like was brought up like my career. Like I was focusing so much on building my career because, I have prudence and I want to make sure that in the future, like I can do everything I want. And it's like, no, prudence is all about watering your roots so you don't have to worry about if the fruits will grow. They grow regardless. If you take care of the roots, the fruits will grow. You don't have to look at the fruit. You don't have to water the fruit. the fruit will grow if the roots are being nurtured. And that is with the soil around it, with what you're feeding it. So what you're inputting into your system, what you're inputting like with your friends, with what you watch on TikTok, with what you see on social media, like it's so important to be able to see that this investment within yourself is going to bring forth everything that you need.
Yeah, I love that. And the reason why I was just dancing around back then is because I literally posted a post today about understanding burnout and how it can be related to plants. Basically the seed, the environment, the roots. That's where it all happens, right? And I can flip this around. Basically, it's like the seed is what we wish or what we kind of hope to have in the future. The environment is basically the soil, the micronutrients we add to it, the water that we put into it to kind of like make sure that the seed has the right environment to grow. And then the plant, the root kind of, and I was reading this yesterday, right? Like the very first thing that comes off of the seed is not the shoot, it's the root. The root needs to take stuff, it needs to grasp all the nutrients from the soil so that it can grow up. And that's it. If you take care, if you plant a lot of seeds everywhere possible, and if you take care of the environment, your tree will grow. It might not grow immediately, but it will grow. And this, okay. uh,
Let's go.
let's go. Yeah, this reminds me of I don't know how many of you all, and I don't know, G, if you have seen it, My Neighbor Totoro. Have you seen that movie? Right? Okay, so it's that scene, okay, like the acorn seeds that they plant and they keep watering it and they keep watering it and it doesn't grow, it doesn't grow and doesn't grow. And then Totoro comes around and he just does this magical dance routine with all of his little, I don't want to say sidekicks, but little cute monster babies. And and both the girls kind of go on there and they do the dance, and then the tree just shoots up and it grows magnificently, right? In that scene, it grows into everything it has the potential to grow into. So I feel like that is kind of what we are kind of moving towards, is just the concept of that if you have the seed and if you create the right environment, the tree will grow into everything that it can possibly grow into. And it grows beyond our imagination, beyond so much more than what we could have imagined. It grows into all of that. So yeah.
I love that. I think that's literally it. Like it's true. Like the root does grow first. And I feel like we can just like bring out these freaking cards again.
Yes.
We have to cut off those dead branches. We have to let go of those leaves that are no longer providing us nutrients, but taking more from us than giving, right?
Yeah.
We have to realize that the roots, the what we have in like our trunks, our thick branches, everything that is at our core is what we have to create with. And with the new energy that we receive from cutting off everything else, we can lead that towards the new growth. And the new growth brings forth a lot of pleasure, and it brings forth a lot of self-satisfaction. And the more we do this, the more we're able to reap the rewards. Let's go.
This
love it.
So powerful. Ooh.
Yeah, it was.
I love
perfect.
It. Yeah. I feel like I love this idea. I feel like we should do this at least once a month. Just pull out cards and just see what the feeling is, what the energy. We could do this in the beginning of the month almost, or at the end of a month to see what new energy we are bringing into the new month that's coming along.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like it would be so powerful if we did something like this, just to kind of have an idea as to what we are moving towards.
I think this is a great idea because this is literally like I've seen multiple people talk about like the energy in July, and a lot of it is being able to root your higher self into your body. We're trying to transition from understanding and knowing all of these concepts and ideas and actually like expressing them, like embodying it and expressing it, being the one that creates from the thought realm. Like we're literally being creators right now, guys. And this is a beautiful time to understand how you best create, what your process is, how you best move through this life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that. And I feel like I would love to kind of end it with just this awareness. Are you ready to end it? Like, what do you want to speak about?
No, we're good.
We're good.
Good. I feel like we talked about so much, and it's beautiful. Like we're
yeah
good.
yeah, I just want to end it with this awareness that was brought through with the cards, is that let go of things that's no longer serving you. Know that you have everything that you are looking for, right? Like even if you're unaware of a lot of the stuff, you subconsciously are aware. Your spirit is aware of all the things that you need to kind of grow into whatever you want to grow into. Just you have that seed, you have that container filled with so much potential, right? And once you're aware that you are planting the seed, you are creating this environment with that knowledge, with that sword, you're basically almost studying away at the soil to kind of like make sure that it's loosened up and ready for the roots to kind of go in and grow. You will get the pleasure and you will reap the benefits of it all. You have so much potential inside of you. It might not seem like it at this point of time in your life, or you might already be aware of it, of all the things that you're going to create, but it's a great reminder nonetheless that you have everything that you're looking for and you will receive it, right? You just have to do the magic dance. But
Yes.
yes,
Yes. Do the magic dance.
do the magic dance. Yeah. Amazing. I love it. Any parting words before we go, G?
Thank you for making it this far. I'm really excited. I feel like it hasn't felt like it's been 2 months of this, but I'm really excited to continue growing in my own ways and being able to share it with not only you, but everyone else that's watching.
Yes, I love it. I'm ready to do the same. And please put it down in the comments what you are working towards right now and how we can best support you. Also, like, share, subscribe. Genuinely, I feel like it's the little things that count, because we seeing that this is resonating with you, that this is hitting you where it hurts, that can then lead to pleasure. That is, we always end up here. That is all that we
Kinky.
but yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, please support us and let us know if all the things that we speak about is genuinely resonating with you. And we can continue to do more of the same in the future and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Super excited.
And if there's anything that you guys want us to touch on, any topic or specific like wisdom, anything that you want us to break down at all, like we're definitely happy to take any kind of suggestions. Like we said, like this is very like off, we're just talking, like this is just how we talk. So if there's anything that you guys want us to like talk about and like break down, we would be happy to.
For sure. And like just let us know ahead of time so that we can actually research upon it and come here with as much knowledge as we possibly can contain within us in that given moment. And we would love to have a conversation around it, because I feel like knowledge is never complete. We are not complete in that knowledge yet. So just having the ability to kind of like, you are giving us the opportunity to learn more and to understand more of the universe that we know of. So we'd be grateful if you want to kind of allow, tell us that, oh, this is something that we want to speak about, that will allow us to kind of look into areas that we probably haven't looked into yet. So yeah,
it'll be perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes. Take care, guys. Love you. Bye.